Hi, you're listening to She Shield, your one-stop pod for all topics personal safety. I'm your host, Sophia, and my goal is to help educate women and men on concealed carry, martial arts, and all topics self-defense. This episode is brought to you by Big Tex Ordnance, your favorite retailer for all of your firearms needs. BTO believes in only selling high-quality gear for responsibly armed citizens, as well as providing pre- and post-sale support. BTO values firearms training and supports firearms instructors nationwide. They even pay for their own staff to train with high-level instructors to ensure that when you as the consumer reach out, you are taken care of. Today, I have Lisa Hamilton back on the show. She's at Shoot with Lisa on Instagram. So if you follow me or the She Shield Instagram, you have probably seen her by now. So Lisa, I would love for you to go ahead and introduce yourself to the pod for those that do not know you. Go for it.
Hi, I am Lisa, as Sophia said, at Shoot with Lisa on Instagram. I am your average civilian girly turned firearms enthusiast. I am a firearms instructor. I do a lot of beginner and marksmanship classes in West Tennessee. And I am also a occupational therapy doctorate student. So that occupies pretty much all of my time. Oh, and I'm a fiance to my lovely fiance. Is that a thing? Fiance to my fiance?
That's the thing.
Yeah. Sophia and I are fiancés, if you didn't know. Not with each other, but with other guys.
Unfortunately. We had already found people before. No, just kidding. Caleb listening to this right now as the audio processes. I can feel the eye roll. Mm-hmm. Lisa and I met when I was interested in USPSA, and she held my hand through the whole process.
Oh, yeah.
And
I forgot to say, I dabble in the competitive shooting world. That's kind of like, my newest hobby / passion adventure. So, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Last time you came on, you forgot to mention you were a doctorate student. So,
whoops.
And I remember saying it like I was trying to be funny, and I was like, oh yeah, like what else do you do? Like there's something else. And I thought it was hilarious, and like I don't know. So we always forget that one thing that we almost think is like obvious, so we don't need to say it, but it's actually very important. So
no, in my head, I was like, this is a self-defense podcast. Am I even allowed to talk about non-self-defense things? Now I know you better, so
application. Yeah, honestly, it's not allowed. Actually. Oh, yeah. So if we
competitive shooting, if you didn't know, gets you killed in the streets, as they say.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is sarcasm for those of you that don't have a good sarcasm meter or don't know us very well. So you're probably wondering, what the hell are you guys on to talk about?
So am I.
Today is a special edition. Lisa and I have kind of tossed around this idea for a while of going on the podcast and talking about the creepy, funny, and just downright disrespectful comments and DMs we've gotten on social media. Mine have been building up for a while. Only recently have I been sharing them with someone. So like used to, I would kind of like struggle in silence and be like, oh, this is shitty. Like this hurts my feelings. But nowadays I just screenshot them and send them to Lisa. So chances are if you send me a crappy DM, Lisa's also seen it. So, and I also that's just how
hate you. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. We're usually pretty good about blotting out the names when we send each other things, I feel. I was telling Sophia earlier, sometimes there's like that joke where it's like, oh, I'll forgive you, but I already told my mom what you did and she won't. And I was like, that's exactly how I feel about you. Like, if you have ever crossed her at any point and like done some, you know what I mean? I know about it and I hate you.
That's how I feel about you too. Absolutely. Yes. And it's been like creepy in a way how similar we are. I met her for the first time at one of her USPSA matches. I drove out to the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, from like Jonesboro, Arkansas.
It was literally Memphis. It was Memphis, Tennessee.
Was it really?
She's like the middle of nowhere. It's Memphis.
Okay, wait, really? Because I thought
It was Memphis.
I could have sworn it was like
AKA the middle of nowhere.
Dry Creek. It's Dry Creek.
Yeah, but we
Creek,
didn't meet at Dry Creek. Dry Creek is in Pinson.
Oh, I thought we had met at Dry Creek for some reason.
Our first match was at Memphis. But yes, we have shot in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee many times together. But that's just so funny. I'm sorry.
That's really fucking funny. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, and like she walks up to me and I was like instantly stunned because you are so gorgeous. Like you okay, no, I just have to say this. A lot of people do not live up to the hype, you know, from like social media to in person. And it's just true. Like we have filters. I even filter a lot of my pictures. If I have like a big ass breakout, like I'll take my acne off that picture. So, you know, there's something to be said about filters and adjustments made, but you were stunning. You are stunning. And you're also hella tall. Yeah. And I'm also hella tall. And so I was like, this is amazing. And I literally looked at your feet because I was like, is this bitch wearing like 3-inch heels? You had on Solomon's. And I was like, okay, she is a tall queen. So I was so happy to meet you. And we found out we have so many like similarities. It's insane. And you would think that would make us like almost like opposing magnets. But we also have the same level of respect for each other and friends and like the same moral compass. I feel like I think you
totally agree. No, it was funny because the first match afterwards, we went out to lunch and we were with my shooting partner, Noah, also. And when we left, I get in the car and I'm like, how do you think that was? Do you think that went well? Was that a good lunch? And he goes like head in his hands. He's all like, that was like having lunch with two of you. He was like, I've never experienced something like that before.
I was like, I love that.
I love it.
Noah is adorable. Yes. And he'll probably
I was going to say, he's going to cringe at the fact that you called him adorable, but it's fine.
Absolutely. Well, I've said it.
It's out there. It's out in the world. I'm not taking it back.
Now. Yes. Well, you know, today is a special episode. Like I said, I'm super excited for this. We have screenshots of the DMs and comments that we particularly hated and
or loved in a horrible, like weird, like, sinister kind of way, you know?
Yeah. That, and also like some people just say certain things that like touch your heart and give you that like push you needed in your day and like a reminder of like what you're doing is actually helping people. So, and I just want to go forward and saying this is not going to be a super negative, all-consuming co-rumination style podcast episode. It is going to be a good balance of good comments, funny stuff, but also a little bit of the negative side. So if you're someone who is struggling in the social media space, maybe you've gotten some negative feedback, you don't know how to process that, you don't know how to feel about it, this would be a really good episode for you. If anything, just to help you feel validated, because I remember in the very beginning, I was probably still under 10K and but when anytime you get like even like a couple thousand, you do get like your very committed just a-holes on there. And I remember reaching out at the time, I'd really only followed fitness people. And I remember reaching out to the fitness gurus that I loved with like, I like copy pasted a message to them saying like, hey, I'm really struggling with some negative feedback I've gotten on my page. And it's, you know, it's really like hurt my feelings. Like, what do you do to process this? How do you censor this? Like, how do you deal with this essentially? And I did get some help from some of them. And it was just basically about adopting a mindset to go forward with. But that's not to say that some comments don't, you know, double negative here, but don't like hit you the wrong way and make you feel a certain way. So, but, you know, so if that's something you're struggling with, this episode is absolutely for you.
Yeah. And on that note, also, even if you're not, you know, someone who is posting content on social media, just being a human in the firearms industry or somebody who is a consumer of the industry or an instructor, I mean, it can be brutal. Friends, family, strangers treat you differently. And yeah, we'll definitely be touching on all of that during this episode. So don't worry, we're not just gonna be like whining to each other for the next hour. Only a little bit.
Right, exactly. Only a little bit. Plus, we got a lot of that out, in the beginning. So, all right. So, I think the way we discussed this is we kind of want to start with the positive side of things. So I'll go ahead and start with a comment I got on TikTok, and TikTok is notoriously negative for me. While I have I think I'm at 130K
casual
and declining right now. I don't post as consistently as I should, but when you reach that amount of people, you get every type of person on every, political side. And even though my content is 99.99999% apolitical, I might mention Second Amendment support, but I really try to lead with training and safety. I still get just the cesspool of the internet, as quoted from Brené Brown. So this guy said something that I felt really good about. He said, I've been a concealed carry and defensive carry instructor for years, since 2014. And that is one of my biggest things I stress on my courses. And he said, thank you. The thing I was talking about in this video was how competition shooting, I believe, relates to self-defense shooting, about putting yourself under stress and trying to relay and connect the worlds of competition shooting to self-defense. And I'd gotten a lot of mixed feedback. So that is one thing I love, when people who are actually experiencing in the industry come on and kind of encourage me. Those are the people I actually care about and appreciate. The goons of the internet, in other words. Yeah, I do not give a lot of weight to them, but that's not to say that they haven't, totally hit a nerve in the past. So do you have one today, a positive one you'd like to share?
I'll start off with a positive one too. This is a DM that I got on Instagram, and it says, yo, thank you for doing what you do, first of all. You've helped me a lot. I'm going to start over. It says, yo, thank you for doing what you do, first of all. You've helped me help a lot of women in my life, including my own mother, carry comfortably while wearing clothes they're confident in. It really means a lot. And I was like, your mom? You know what I mean?
Right. Yes. Yeah, because they're a family member. When someone says that they have taken your information to someone that they love and care about, I mean, that's the ultimate compliment.
It really is, yeah. And it gave me the warm fuzzies inside, because that really, if for those of you who haven't been on my page, that is a huge portion of my content, is trying to teach women to carry in clothes that they're confident in. When I started carrying, I got so much of the just throw on pants and a belt. And I didn't want to throw on pants and a belt, I will if I have to, but I'm a woman. I like to wear feminine clothes, and there weren't a lot of resources out there for carrying, or there probably were, I just didn't really know where to look, but there weren't a ton of resources for learning how to carry safely. That's a whole nother thing. Safely in feminine clothes. So to be able to do that for other people and know that it's actually paying off, even to just one person's mom, it makes all of the goons of the internet, all of their negativity, it doesn't matter, because I help someone's mom.
Absolutely. Yes. That's a screenshot worth keeping in your phone for sure. So the next thing I want to start with is kind of a funny one, and it's one I get all of the time. And I mean, every single GD TikTok about concealed carry, there's some person who says this. And I know we've talked about this a lot between the two of us, but I'll just read them. Americans are wild. Another user said, thank fuck I don't live in America. The next one is, America is a great country where people need a gun to feel safe. Another user, yep, a totally normal country, ... So this is just a touch of what I get about being an American. And to that I say, How dare you?
How dare you?
Another person, how dare you? The audacity to go to another person's page who lives in another country than you, whose norms are completely separate, laws are completely separate from yours, and for you to take what they have to live with and judge it based on it being different from you is such like an ignorant standpoint, especially when they don't know what it's like to be a female in the United States, where like guns are they are like on the playing field. So evening the playing field is like ultimately what we're trying to do. And it rocks me to my core. And I've thought about making a video to this, but I haven't decided how I want to say this, but I don't know if have you gotten any comments like that or you have a take on
all
that?
all of the time. But it goes the other way too, because there are, there's closed-minded people everywhere. I've actually had one of my favorite private lessons I have ever given was this tourist from England, and he was just coming through middle of nowhere Tennessee, on his little on his little road trip or whatever. He was traveling around the country, and he was like, yeah, I just looked up a gun store that was along my route because I just wanted to take a lesson and see what it was like. And he had the best time. Like, he could not get the smile off his face. He was like, this is so interesting. I've never experienced this before. And it's so good to see, people can take it as like, oh, let me be open-minded about this new experience that doesn't really exist where I am. But then there's, always the people that are just like, yeah, close-minded.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and at the same time, I can totally see why it's culturally shocking to them
Absolutely.
to see that we carry that as civilians when they are used to military and law enforcement, maybe not even law enforcement having access to that. So, like, I can totally understand that perspective, but to go on and be
hateful about it,
crappy. Yeah, to someone whose intentions are to educate and inspire and encourage. It's honestly, it's tragic to see, but it is. I literally every time I see it now, I'm just like, okay, that's original, nice, like good one.
Sofia,
I really thought hard about that one.
Every time I see that comment, it makes me want to grab my American flag and hop on the back of a Ford F-150. Let me tell you. Oh, yeah. No, but really, no, it was actually a culture shock for me too, because for those of you who didn't know, I was born and raised in good old Southern California, and I moved to Tennessee when I was 18. So coming from a place like this where nobody carries or has guns to moving to Tennessee where a lot of people carry and have guns, it was shocking at first, and I did think it was weird, but I very obviously quickly got on board, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your story. I want to make sure I talk about this, and I should just let you tell it, but I want to say first, my story is kind of interesting in a sense that, like, I started with martial arts. I remember my first encounter holding anything that looked like a gun was a fake, like, blue gun I trained with in Krav Maga. And our instructor said, once you get the gun from the attacker, then hold it at them, like, keep them at bay until the police get there. And I was like, the fuck? Like, I wouldn't know what to do with it. He was like, yeah, like tap rack, make sure that there's a round in the chamber. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
What's the tap rack?
So, right, I know. So I literally, like, I took that and I felt uncomfortable in something, and I did what I do when I want to learn something. And I went all in. I called a friend who was instructing, and I was lucky enough to have him kind of teach me. So that perspective is kind of, I feel like, very unique. Yours is very, like, it really, like, appeals to the masses. Like, you were, like, put in a place that was new to you, and you kind of saw that, like, in order to make the playing field even, you needed to kind of get a pistol. So I'd love for you to share, if you don't mind, like, how you got into that. And I know you talked about it on the first episode we did, but
yeah.
if you
Yeah,
don't
I'll do
mind.
like the
I'm
Cliff
rambling at
Notes
this
version.
point.
No. Yeah. The Cliff
Yeah.
Notes version is I moved to Tennessee for college and I was a waitress in college. So I was leaving work really late at night with a lot of cash money on me because I was a great waitress and I made really good tips, you know. And I realized, you know, a lot of people in Tennessee have guns, like a very like most people, I would say, have guns. And if I'm leaving work late at night and I ran into a lot of seedy characters out there, let me tell you, in the parking lot, we couldn't park in the restaurant parking lot. We had to park in this adjacent parking lot, pitch black in the middle of nowhere, to walk to our cars late at night by ourselves with cash on us. So, as you can imagine, I came across a lot of very seedy people. And I just kind of realized, you know, if all of it was a very simple, like logical decision in my brain. If all of these people have guns and they might potentially want to cause me harm, then I should have one too, so that I'm able to defend myself with equal force. Just really simple, like in my brain. And long story short, I made that decision. I went and bought a pistol, had no idea what to do with it, and then went and took my first class and realized, you know, if I'm going to use this to protect myself and I want to be, you know, efficient and accurate under stress, I need to train and train some more and never stop training, basically. So that's kind of how I ended up where I am. I took my first intro to handguns class with good old Chip Howland at the range in Jackson, Tennessee, and I never looked back. He's been my mentor through this whole journey. Amazing man, amazing instructor, amazing place, and yeah, ta-da.
Yes. Yeah, I love your story. I love your story because you took very preventive measures and you went all in. Like, you didn't just kind of buy a gun, go to a concealed carry course. You were like, you just wanted more. And I think that's awesome. I wish every armed citizen was like you.
Thank you, because I'll say, I don't want to ramble, but one more thing, like while we're on the subject, now being on the flip side of it, because like I said, I spiraled, I trained my booty off. I was shooting 4 or 5 times a week, at least for at least over a year before, you know, now I dry fire a lot more than I shoot because I can't afford ammo. Ammo skyrocketed during COVID. So like I can't afford to shoot as much as I used to. I still train a lot. But anyway, eventually I started working and instructing at the range, and now being on the flip side of it and, you know, teaching classes, teaching concealed carry courses, and seeing how many people own firearms that don't seek out any training or come take the carry permit class. And we're the only indoor range in our area, like for miles and miles and miles. And we'll see them for carry permit class and we will never, ever see them again. And, you know, maybe they have land somewhere or train somewhere else somewhere, who knows? But it is concerning. It is quite concerning statistically, the number of people we issue permits to that we never see shoot ever again or train. So I really hope those people, the optimist in me, wants to think that they're out there training somewhere and getting educated, but you never know.
But who knows at that point? Yeah, absolutely.
So if that sounds like you,
thank you
go get training, please.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So I guess the next thing we can do before we do kind of like a super, super negative one, we can do kind of like a funny one. Like, this one stopped me in my tracks. I didn't respond to her because I was totally taken back. I was kind of, in a way, flattered, but mostly taken back.
Okay.
I screenshotted it and sent it to you probably within like 20 seconds of me reading it. So she said, "Hey, you probably won't message me back, but you have inspired me so much, and I would honestly pay you to punch me in the face." So this is one of my favorite ones. It's funny every time. Like, I've mentioned it quite a few times. And like, I actually looked at her page. She's like a legit like female. You know what I mean? Like, not just like not like a robot or like some person like, you know, claiming to be. And you probably are surprised this isn't, you know, a funny, creepy comment from a man. Like, And I think that's what I was mostly surprised about. Like, this was from a female. Her first message to me was, and I don't think I've told you this, but it was, how do you feel about girly looking pew-pews?
Okay.
And then she sent me a picture of her gun, but I think I never unblurred the image. Like, it literally, like, on my phone, you can see, like, the image is not unblurred. Yeah, I'll make sure to cover her name if it shows up. But I was very surprised at that one. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because it's so wholesome at first, and then it's so just out of pocket. Like, it's hilarious because I think I was like, oh my gosh, no way. Someone offered me money to punch me in the face too. This one, it says, strong, beautiful woman, I pay $3,000 for you punch me in the face.
Okay, I thought you said 300. You said 3,000?
Yeah, this was a DM. It was a swipe up on, I used to work at a kickboxing gym up until recently. So I think I had posted just like, I don't know if I was like punching like a combo or something, but it was something at the kickboxing gym. And it was a swipe up on that one though. And I was like, is it bad that I briefly considered? Are we in the wrong field? Mm-hmm. Like career field? $3,000 to punch you in the face.
And it wasn't like put your feet on my face. It was just punch you. And I do it for free,
but you just had to go and say that. Now it's kind of weird, you know?
No, absolutely.
Yeah. You gotta love it.
I feel like that could be a lucrative. I mean, that must be a kink of some sort.
I was about to say that. Do you know how many like fetishes just exist? Actually, this isn't even. We're not even on this, but I have a screenshot. I think right here.
Oh, go for it.
What video is this on? Two for one, baby. Just because we're on the topic. I'm just trying to find the screenshot so I can tell you exactly what video it was left on because I feel like that context is important. Okay. Yeah, so it's on a video of me, and I thought this was a weird video too because I'm in very regular clothes, like a long sleeve t-shirt and jeans.
Okay.
Long sleeve t-shirt and jeans, and it's this reel where I'm just like, I'm kind of showing because sometimes to work I'll wear this big like crossbody messenger laptop type bag that like I have all my paperwork in. And I was kind of showing how it's important, A, to dry fire before you leave the house in your outfit to make sure that you can access your firearm quickly and efficiently. But also if you have anything that you're wearing to like swat it to the side, you know, and to practice that in your dry fire so that God forbid in any situation, you know, you're not like fumbling with your bag that you've never tried clearing before. Anyway, very regular video, like not even me prancing around in a dress or something, but just jeans and a t-shirt. And it just says, "Aw, man, I think I have a new fetish." And I was like,
Wait, how is the aw spelled? Is it like AWW or is it?
I was trying not to swear, but I'm gonna. It actually says "aw shit," and it's just AW. It's AW shit dot space dot. I think I have a new fetish.
Is the fetish the bag?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, what part of this video is the fetish?
Are you the fetish?
I don't know. I'm flattered, but yeah, I really don't know. Like, people get weird with someone like the inner thigh carry videos or something like that. I would almost expect it on. Like, that one's always just like a lot of comments that I'm just like delete, like as they come in. But that one was just so mundane and regular that I was like, huh.
Yeah.
I wonder what sparked it for you, you know? Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
On the topic of kinks.
You know, you don't want to like write him back and be like,
what was it? But the curiosity, I think I'll probably think about that till the day I die. Like, it'll just come up in my brain and I'll be like, what was it?
Yeah.
What did it for you?
That's true. Yeah. I hope you can find peace.
I might be
really
able to one of these days. I'm not sure. But
absolutely.
Oh,
that's good stuff. Yeah. And if you guys enjoy this episode, let us know because we have plenty.
we have a plethora
in fact,
of
like
screenshots.
a plethora. I literally went into my Google Photos like archives and typed in screenshot and just like found all the ones I've screenshotted over time. But I know if I went and looked for some, I could find them. Part of me doesn't even read all of my comments on TikTok because they are so negative. But sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to do that to myself. Like, it's bad energy. There's no way I can get back to all of them anyway. So, yeah. I guess the next thing we can go into is kind of like the darkest side of comments I've gotten. And one particularly has shattered me to my core. Shook me to my core? No, shook me to my core. One in particular shook me to my core.
Shattered.
And that and this is from just like a rando dude on TikTok. And I won't say his name, I guess, because I don't really know if I want to deal with the repercussions of that. But his comment on April 8th was, and I quote, "heading to shoot in some school, ? So that one really shook me because, you know, you can have like the best intentions in the world and really put yourself out there and be vulnerable. And someone will find, you know, something wrong with what you do. And like that goes for any field. If you're a fitness influencer, maybe you have a page on psychology and mental health. Literally everything you do can have the best intentions in the world. You can put all of the disclaimers, you know, you can say that you're not an expert. Someone will come and absolutely shit on you because they have issues themselves. And something we've talked about before, Lisa and I, is like, mainstream media has highlighted the negative impact that firearms have had on communities. And personally, those are hard for me to hear as well. Like the school shootings are obviously such a triggering topic and just terrible incident, just beyond belief. Like the fact that firearms are like one of the top killers, maybe even like the number one killer of children in this day and age, is so hard to fathom. And it's like, even though we're on like the good side of that, people will still, you know, project their understanding based on what they've seen in media, in the mass media. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. And yes, that was so well said. Being a person who is in the firearms industry in any capacity, it is so easy to immediately get thrown into little groups by people that really just don't understand or know any better. I've told you this before. I've lost lots of friends over this part of my life. I have been called just straight based on the fact that I own a firearm that I carry to protect myself, been called racist, homophobic, violent, or you know what I mean? Just the list goes on and on and on. And to be just called something so horrible when you have such good intentions, you know, to protect and defend as opposed to cause harm is just, it sucks. It really just does. And it's like, you know, you just got to remember that these people, they have no clue what they're saying. It's some people just want to be hateful for absolutely no reason. I say it's like kicking a puppy. Like, you're so nice. I'm so nice. Yes. We're nice, kind-hearted, loving people that just want to protect ourselves and the people that we care about. And to call us something so extreme, so extremely horrible is just, it really does. It kind of just takes you aback and makes you shooketh.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a really good analogy, kicking a puppy, just like the worst thing you could ever do.
Ever.
Yes. And of course, like the puppy's intentions are just to love, and, you know, so I really like that analogy. I like to speak in analogies a lot, so that is like my favorite thing ever.
And you have to think a lot too about the people that are saying these things, how twisted and dark of a mind you must have to even think of a comment like that, you know? I would never even my brain would never come up with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you really have to think about the kind of person that it takes to go straight to that when you see some sort of firearms video. Like, it's pretty dark.
Absolutely. Have you had any that have
shooketh
shocked you? I forgot what we agreed on
that word now.
To your core?
Shooketh me to my core.
Yes.
You know, I'll have to pick one that's on the same kind of dark theme. Where is it? Basically, and I've had this comment in two different ways, kind of. Both of them talked about kidnapping, but I've had a comment that I think was meant to be a compliment, and please, PSA to all of the men and women out there, if you're thinking about complimenting somebody on their post and using kidnapping in that compliment, just don't do it.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but yeah.
Just don't.
Right. Right.
Just don't. But it said something along the lines, I'll find it, it's here somewhere, but of, no wonder, it said, damn, Ma, no wonder you're worried about being kidnapped. Fire emoji. And people ask me why I carry a gun. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that was your compliment? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Like, does that ever make you think that there's people out there that would just, like, kidnap you for shits and giggles? Like, because they went, damn, Ma, you know? Dark. Weird. And then...
Dark and weird,
man. Yeah. And then I've had one on the other side of the spectrum that was meant to be rude. That was like, if I were you, I wouldn't worry about being kidnapped, with like the vomit emoji. And I was like, wow, all right then. I guess I'm safe, bud.
Yeah. Right. Like, oh my God. You know what? My purpose for posting that was totally because I wanted you to be attracted to me. So that's this honestly breaks my heart, and I should probably just give up.
All I wanted you to take away from that. I understand not everybody's cup of tea, you know. It takes a classy, distinguished man.
Well, you're a 10, obviously. And we've talked about this a little bit, how like there are things evolutionarily, and I don't know why I'm going on this tangent again to you, but evolutionarily that we are all attracted to: height, musculature, symmetry, right? But if you were to place 100 of the world's most beautiful
isn't that a thing? Did I ever tell you once that I was at sidebar, that I was at the grocery store and I had a man come up to me and whisper in my ear that I had nice birthing hips? Yeah, nice birthing hips.
Sorry, the whispers what got me.
Oh yeah. Oh like, yeah. And to make it even better, I was 16. 16.
Dude, Noah.
Yeah. Yep.
Noah,
sure was.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, man. Sorry. I'm sure that comment.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, dude, that is creepy AF. I mean, I feel like a proper response would be like, I'm 16. But I'm sure at that point he doesn't.
Right.
Give a shit.
He's almost like the kind of person that you're like, you don't know that if saying that would make it worse or better, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure you were in shock. I mean, you were 16. Like, what the freak were you supposed to say to him? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I just blacked out. I was like, huh?
What did you do?
Anyway.
I'm super blacked out. No, absolutely. And like, you could take 100 of the world's most beautiful women, put them, you know, on against a back wall, kind of like a two-way mirror on a mirror and a police, you know, station, and they would not be rendered as, you know, the most beautiful women on the world by all of the men, because there are preferences beyond symmetry and evolutionary kind of qualities that we all judge people based on. So it's like your comment about me not being your type literally means nothing to me.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. I was like, Sophia, when have I ever said you're not my type?
Your opinion matters to me. But like, you have simply boosted my algorithm and done nothing else for me. Like, this is
Can we talk about
like,
just the hate comments just boosting our posts to no end? Like, the more things people... I think I was telling my mom this the other day. I was like, oh, sometimes it's so nice when people just roast me on a video, because it immediately just gets boosted and reaches more and more and more accounts. And I'm like, man. And it's especially, you know, it kind of sucks if you actually do something really stupid on social media and you're getting roasted. But when you're doing something completely safe and normal that, you know, you're completely correct about, and people just start roasting you, I'm like, keep it coming. Keep it coming. My only fear with that, my only concern is the people that don't know that you're doing the correct thing. The only reason that I do delete the majority of those comments is because I worry that somebody that doesn't know much about firearms, maybe is a beginner to concealed carrying, will see comments like that and discredit my page and my knowledge because user 3462 on the internet said that I was stupid, you know? So that is the only thing. But yeah, keep them coming.
No, that's a really good point. And I've also thought about that before. Like, do I look like I don't trust my craft if I delete these comments? Like, what will it look like? Sometimes you just don't want to freaking see them anymore. Like, just straight up. Like, we have the right to delete that shit. That is totally all right. You have a really good point. I have totally seen other people's videos in different industries, medical industries, like doctors on TikTok coming on. And if there's a comment that says like, oh, this is false based on blah, 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 I'll immediately in my head, like, yeah, something like that. But even though it may not be a correct, what am I trying to say? A correct
statement,
rebuttal to like what they've said. Yeah. I still, like, for a second, I'm like, maybe this isn't 100% correct. It like almost immediately discredits them, because your first impressions are built in like those first few seconds, especially with reels only being about 30 seconds long on average, you know, depending on your page. But it is, it's easy to get discouraged by other comments, and you don't want that for people who could genuinely benefit from your content. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I think that's great, and you should be able to do that 100%. Another one I got that really kind of like made me feel sick to my stomach, just because like this was like psychopathic. Oof. This guy was like, oh yeah, that concealed carry technique is all fun and games until someone comes up behind you and shoves you down a flight of stairs because all you have on you is that BB gun. And
okay, first
I actually made a response to this. Right? Like, you are so effed up in the head to, one, put that out there. Do you know that, like, you can search people's names on Google and, like, their, like, handles on TikTok and see the comments they've commented?
Oh, wow. I gotta do that sometime.
There's something like, I literally saw TikTok on this, but, like, if I were still in the dating phase of my life and I was dating, online dating, I would totally search their name and see what they've been commenting on people's videos as like a screening method. Not gonna lie.
That is brilliant. To all of you out there that aren't fiancés, use it. Or even if you are and you want to make sure that your fiancé is not a total psychopath, do it.
Or you're hiring someone or you make a new friend. Yeah.
I'm going to really quick bounce off that one, because there was one that made me feel sick to my stomach, which at first I couldn't tell if it was a legitimate, you know, sometimes people comment kind of sketch things because they're trying to make you think in a certain way. Like, you know, there's the comment, a lot of people will do like small of the back carry, and people will comment things like, you know, if you're pushed down on your back, How are you going to access your gun? Like, okay, so my first thought was this was one of those type comments. It said, won't matter if you've got a gun if your wrists are pinned down. And at first I'm thinking, like, it's one of those comments that's like, think about this. How are you going to defend yourself or access your weapon if you find yourself in this situation? But then it was the emoji that was attached to it. That was like the little smirky face. That's like the little side smile where it's like,
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
The fact that was tagged onto the end of it, I was like, I think this just went from educational to very, very creepy and made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, way to sexualize my content.
You know what I mean? Like no, and that's a really, really great thing to think about, though. Consider those situations. If you do get your wrist pinned down, and take some jiu-jitsu classes and learn your ground fighting techniques, my friends. But no, then leave your weird emojis off of your comments.
Yeah, I remember before I took Craig Douglas's class and was rudely awakened to actually having to pull my weapon from inside the waistband while someone is charging at me and is, twice my size. I did get comments where people would be like, hey, like, just want to put out there, like, this would not be very applicable in a situation where you're in an extreme close quarter situation, or hey, like, you might consider, like, your hands are a little full in this video when you're walking. Like, what would you do? Would you drop those things? Like, do you practice dropping those things? Do you practice different start positions with your hands? Stuff like that is so welcome and helpful.
100%.
But when it's presented, like, sexualized, and emojis are like a way for us to kind of attach intention to our words. So that was very obviously sexual.
Or even if you, because those comments are absolutely welcome, and it is good stuff to think about. There's just a time and a place. Like, did I tell you when I taught this like mini class at 511 in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, aka Memphis. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. I taught this mini class at 511 about women's situational awareness. And if you've never been to one of 511's, they have what's called the ABR Academy. It's the Always Be Ready Academy. And they basically put on small classes for free, like for the community at 511 store locations. So this class is at a retail store. So anybody is like walking in and out and like shopping and buying stuff while you're teaching this class. And this dude like comes up and like hijacks my presentation. Like, there's chairs, there's a TV, there's me, monitor. I'm obviously standing in the front, like lecturing to the people. And I'm thinking at first he's just trying to like look at some stuff on the wall next to where I'm teaching, because he's like hovering, just like circling me like a shark, just walking around. And I'm like, okay, like, you want to look at the fanny pack or whatever, like, I'll get it off the wall for you. And he just like cuts me off in the middle of my sentences and was all, hi, if I can for a second, I teach concealed carry. And I was like, oh my God. No, yeah.
I
if you can't see Sophia's face right now, she's like, it's a good face.
Let me just drop.
So completely like hijacks my class and starts like spewing information that I had literally said, like, I don't know, 15 minutes ago. Like, and it's just like, is what you're saying correct? Yeah. I already covered it. And also, just don't, you know what I mean? And it's like, you can tell when people are swiping up on your story or leaving comments in a way that is constructive and educational, and the people that are just trying to be jackasses about it. And we welcome the educational constructive criticism, but don't be just horrific about it.
This actually reminds me, agreed 100%. I was talking with a friend, I'm going to try to be very vague. I was talking with a friend the other day about this one woman's account. She's like a concealed carry Second Amendment account. And a lot of her content is very much like based on negative comments she's gotten in quotations. For example, this guy literally just said, when you are teaching a female, do you recommend you have her shoot a 22 first compared to a 9mm? A very good question.
That is a really good question.
Great question. Good for him for considering this. She replied with, I almost want to call her out. It's not worth it, but she replied with
because I still have no idea who you're talking about.
Right? I'll tell you after. She was like, you should let the woman decide if she wants to shoot. Men need to stop trying to coerce women into shooting. And I was like, what? His question was so blandly, just stated hey, what should I do? Very someone was reaching out, trying to be vulnerable, ask a question. And she capitalized on that for social media purposes. And this is why I don't follow her. I thought that was ridiculous. That is not helping our situation where we're trying to tell men do better, right? Make the environment for teaching your female counterparts, firearms in a more accessible, understandable, comfortable way. And then we're shaming them for asking questions. Excuse me? I just want to drop kick her, honestly. I hate to say that. I might even take that out. But I kind of want to
and it's I get where she's coming from, but the fact that it was such a respectfully phrased question, if it was some guy that was that's ridiculous, she needs to be shooting a Smith & Wesson Pink Lady 22 revolver, that's insane to think that she could handle a semi-automatic. Okay, yeah, we've all gotten that 9,000 times. That is completely a different story. But that's a really good question. And actually we do, at least in my beginner classes, I utilize 22s all the time. Nothing is worse than when you have a female come in that's never shot a gun before and she is completely taken aback by the sound and the recoil and never wants to shoot again because she had an unpleasant experience. I think it can be extremely beneficial to learn and hammer fundamentals with the 22 and apply them to a higher caliber. But anyway, whole nother soapbox. But
no, that's great. No, I'm glad you gave that context. Not everyone knows that. Someone listening might be like, okay, that's new to me. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah, and to see that from a woman is I don't claim her. Us women don't claim her. I'm just saying that was rude. So I forget, was it your turn or my turn? I think we talked about the super negative ones.
I feel like it's your turn.
I didn't talk about this. We haven't chatted about this, but when I came out that I dropped out of med school, I got the most shitty responses yeah, what we need is another woman in the gun industry, or wow, wait, oh my God, I never told you this. The biggest one was, way to go from a field where you're helping people to a field where you are hurting people. And I was and they said it in such a shittier way. It was way to go from a field that saves lives to a field that takes lives. Ooh. And I was first of all, damn, someone wrote, the book on burns, but
hurt you?
Also, right, dude, holy shit. I literally wrote back and I was you clearly do not know me or my purpose or any of my content other than this one video. So your comment therefore means nothing to me. And that was back when I used to respond to negative comments. Now my kind of my take on do I respond or not is if I feel I don't want to delete it, I kind of want to use it as an example, I'll respond, or I'll make content out of it. So that one guy that was what, all fun and games until someone shoves you down a staircase and, cause all you've got is that BB gun. I responded to him and I haven't posted this yet, but it's going to be so it's actually not a BB gun. It's a 9mm, but that's okay. That's why I make this content. That is to, to educate people on really fundamental issues like caliber. So I am I want to respond with that, smart Alec. I thought it'd be really funny. But yeah, they give us
excited.
Content.
I was going to say, I will say making content out of hate comments, the dumb ones, is one of my top favorite activities. If I get home from work, sometimes I'm exhausted when I get home from work, and I will plop myself on the couch and be nothing could get me off this couch right now, but I'll get like just such a juicy, like stupid hate comment, and I'll be like, nope, up and at 'em. Like, we gotta make a video out of this. Like, it gives me joy, honestly. I do enjoy it, and it does give you some great content ideas. So yeah, shout out to those people.
Yeah, it does. And it's almost like you think that they think their comment is going to shut you down, and so you're like,
oh my god, you're right. Let me just
here I come.
Let me just take like all of the training that I've been doing diligently for years and just be like, oh my god, wait, you're right. I'm so sorry. You're
right. You are.
Yeah, on that note, I'm just gonna read just a bunch of rapid fire comments that are all in the same genre of shitty comment. And I call this genre the you have no idea what it's like to be a woman in the concealed carry industry, what it's like to carry a firearm as a woman who trains. All looks, no skill. How about you stop worrying about your clothes and go train? Good luck staying alive in heels. Carrying won't help if you can't hit your target. Oh look, another gun bunny. That's a terrible place to wear a gun. Good luck drawing. They go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's like, oh my gosh, imagine being a man. And when I get, this is actually, wait, I'll talk about this in a second. But imagine being a man and having no idea what it's like to carry with female anatomy and making comments about where I'm carrying and telling me that it's unsafe when you didn't even take the time to like look into the setup that I have on, the security of it, the way that I draw, the speed and efficiency, all of that. If it's not like strong side hip or appendix, it's incorrect, which I love appendix carry. I'm a huge appendix carry advocate. I think it's amazing. It is not the only way to carry a firearm. And I'm really big on teaching people other alternative methods as well. And also, I do post a lot of videos on non-traditional carry methods for special occasions, because there are those times that you're going to a fancy dinner or a fancy event and you don't want to compromise your ability to protect and defend yourself, but you also don't want to wear a frumpy sweatshirt and sweatpants to a formal event. So, there's situations where non-traditional carry methods are good to be utilized, and training them is important for those situations.
I completely agree with that. I got to a point where like even something as foolproof and just like amazing as the Filster Enigma wasn't working for me in certain outfits. And I got to where I wouldn't carry at all. And then I was kind of like, screw this. Like, I'm not just going to accept not carrying at all because I have to take something and learn with it and, like basically switch things up. It's kind of ridiculous, because here's the deal. Those same people, if you were in a situation where you were attacked, those same people, men or women, would tell you that you should have been prepared.
That is,
you know what I mean?
So true.
Like, people will find something wrong with everything you do. You could be in the fashion industry and someone will critique your particular style for you that works with your body and your style. It is insane. Like, social media is so amazing and it can connect you with people who truly need your help. But there are, these like screen warriors come out. And I remember I posted my Crossbreed holster, and I'm not sponsored by Crossbreed. I don't even have a code with Crossbreed. I just saw their product and thought, holy shit, that's really cool. I want to get it in my hands. I wrote them and I said, hey, if you will send me this, I'll do an honest review of it. And they were like, dope. Yeah, let's do it. They didn't say dope, but that's how I interpreted it. And
dope.
It took me like 5-10 minutes to get it to work for me because the holster was the retention was too tight on my pistol. So I had to heat up the Kydex and loosen it a little bit. And then when I thought about it, I was like, I should really share this process. Because when I got the holster in, I was like, oof, oof, it's not working. And then I wrote them. They were so receptive. They answered me immediately. They were like, hey, you need to just heat it up and expand it a little bit. And I was like, okay, sure. I have a hair dryer. Like, no worries. I did that. I got a little hot mitt from my kitchen. I expanded the Kydex, and then boom, it worked. And I posted that to help people avoid having to go through the thoughts of like, oh shit, this filter doesn't work. It didn't live up to the hype. And 10 plus people wrote and were like, so much work all to just arrive at a method that is less than the filter enigma. And I was just like, like, and don't get me wrong, if you are someone who knows, like, if your knowledge on concealed carry is limited and you found the filter enigma, it is understandable why you'd want to hitch your wagon to the filter enigma train, because it is like
it's incredible. It's amazing. An amazing holster. And I'm just really quick, same, because as a filter enigma fangirl that I am, like, I love the product. It is one of my primary carry methods. I like would trust my life with that setup, obviously. Like, I love it. But the way in which the Filster fan club will crucify you if you post anything that's not the Filster enigma. And it's interesting because Filster, John and Sarah, like, they're not like that. The creators of the Filster and the Enigma, all of their educational concealment mechanics content, which is fire if you haven't checked it out, all of it is applicable to all holsters, not just their products that meet their minimum safety requirements. Like, they teach you how to conceal all holsters. But I posted a video with a TXC holster and very secure setup. I posted a rebuttal video doing my cartwheels and jumping jacks and handstands wearing this holster, because everyone's like, that's the least secure thing ever, blah, 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 it's so unsafe, you're gonna get people killed, you call yourself an instructor, just like on and on. Like, the Filster enigma is the only way to carry, beltless carry, the only way. And I was like, guys, I get it. Like, I love the Enigma. It is not for everybody. Not everybody can figure it out. It's kind of daunting and scary to some people, and not everybody can afford one. So why not give people safe, secure solutions that aren't the Filster Enigma also? Anyway, that's my soapbox. Continue your thoughts.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you. That sums it up. Yeah, seriously. Absolutely. I know someone recently mentioned they went to something hosted by Sarah Hopman, one of the co-owners of Filster, and she didn't even use a Filster or Henry holster. She just used like a standard Kydex holster to talk about concealment placement, because that's how focused they are on
baller
helping people. Yeah, and like, they've
love
come on the podcast before and they've talked about a few methods that they don't necessarily agree with, but they're not going to stand there and tell you that theirs is the only way. So I really appreciate them for that reason. And
I was going to say, and on that note, like, they always give a really good reason why they don't agree with something. They're never just going to say, like, that's a stupid way to carry a gun. A lot of it is about statistics. They do a lot of research, and a lot of it is about commonly used improper practices with different holsters. Like, there are a lot of holster setups that can work and can be safe, but people don't utilize them in that way. Their draw technique, their reholstering technique, they'll muzzle themselves, they'll do like a lot of unsafe practices, and it can take these methods that have potential, could be good and feasible, but so many people do them in such an unsafe way that it's just probably best a lot of times not to recommend them to people, because the idea of concealed carry is to make ourselves safer, not put ourselves in more danger. So they're really good about explaining why they don't agree with things and what the problems are. Super cool stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you. 100%.
Also, I remember my point from earlier.
Go for it.
I was going to say, because I was on my tangent about men commenting on the female anatomy in like carrying a gun as a woman. And I get so many comments constantly. I don't know if you get these. I don't think we've talked about it, about my upper body movement when I draw. And I always think it's funny because it always comes from a man, and it's always about excessive movement in my upper body when I draw. And as somebody like who has taken holstered handgun classes and practiced a lot of draw and fire techniques, I do understand that textbook it's far more efficient to isolate this movement, not have any excess upper body movement when you're drawing your firearm. However, as a woman, our pants or where we carry our gun very often sits so much higher up on our waist, because men usually wear their pants and belts like around their hips, and it usually sits kind of low. Most women's cut clothing is set to sit above our hips because our hips are the widest part of our body, so they're usually set to sit around our waist to accentuate our female accentuate. I'm sorry, I made up a word. Accentuate our female figure. And what happens when you wear a gun so much higher up on your waist, and you've also got these lovely lady parts up top, you got to navigate some stuff when you're drawing. And there is simply no way that I can reach to my belly button area and not hike up my shoulder significantly. You kind of just have to. It's how we are built anatomically. And I will say that as one of my most consistent comments is to stop moving my upper body so much. And I get it. That's one of those helpful critiques where I understand. Yeah. And you are correct. It takes less time and is far more efficient to isolate that movement. But for a lot of women, it's just not really super possible with a lot of carry positions. So it is good to just kind of look into that and learn a little bit about how our carry methods can differ. And I think that's why a lot of times it's really beneficial and great to learn concealed carry, holstered handgun, draw and fire from a female instructor who kind of has the same body type-ish, structure as you do. And that's not to say, so many male instructors in the industry have just fountains and wealths of knowledge, have forgotten more things than I know total. But that being said, there's different perspectives. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
I've not talked about that. And I'm really glad we have now, because it's such an incredible perspective to talk about. I actually haven't gotten a lot of comments about that. I also have 100 DMs that I have yet to go through. So
maybe they're in there. Who knows?
Didn't I send you a screen recording? Right. Did I send you a screen recording of me scrolling through all the messages?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm incredibly behind. And I feel terrible because and it's because of you have an influx in following sometimes. And people find me from TikTok or YouTube, and they'll come and ask me a question they had from there because they know that IG is the most accessible for that stuff. So I'm not meaning to be behind. I'm not intentionally ignoring, but I forgot where I started rambling about that. I could definitely have some in there, some hidden gems on my body movement. I actually remember when I first started drawing from concealment, I sent a video to Tessa of Armed and Styled, and she was so helpful. She is, and she was. She sent me a video back on not tucking my head too much because I was, kind of pointing in and pushing my head down. And she sent me some comparison videos, and I think she had just been doing laundry or something, and she just popped on a recording for me, and it was so helpful. So I mean, that's how to do it, right? That's how to support women in the industry. In case we needed to give examples. Of course, those people aren't probably listening to this podcast or this episode.
But you're awesome, and we love you.
They happen to be. Yes, absolutely. Yes, exactly. I think a good place to end would be the funny random comments. If you have any, I'm just going to read them. And these are gross, creepy, funny, random, I would say, all coupled. So the first one is, I love it when you expose your piece to me.
Oh, that's funny.
And it was a response to a story where someone told me I look like Jill Valentine. So in case you're wondering, what was the story, that was what it was. So I took that as an ultimate compliment, the Jill Valentine thing. And then someone was like, I love when you expose your piece to me. The next thing is, Hi, you are the girl of my dreams. How do you exist? Marry me. Student, guns, and fitness, my word. I get ones like that all the time. I just thought that was funny because he like listed it out. Commitment, he wanted to stand out, and he did. So
10 out of 10.
The next one,
I said 10 out of 10. He did. Mission accomplished.
10 out of 10. Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure I followed this guy back because I thought this was hilarious. But he was like, "Did you get your blue belt and then quit jiu-jitsu?" Say you didn't.
But you did.
And I remember writing it back and I'm like, actually, I did, man. Like, and I explained my whole like nose break story to him
for good reason.
Right. And like, if I really want to train, Mike Seeklander came on the podcast this morning and we talked about this a lot. If I really wanted to train, I could definitely like pop on a helmet, and I've done that at like ECQC and stuff. But as far as like training, grappling consistently, I have to be careful. My nose is essentially made of glass at this point. So I thought that was really funny. I have 2 more here. The next one is, are you Catholic?
No response.
No response. And the last one is, yo, you thick. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Double C thick or like THICK? No.
It's CK, which I was really disappointed about. I know.
Man, if you're going to call a woman thick, make sure you do double C thick. Let me just tell you.
You're right.
But
the only person I need that from is my fiance and myself.
What about? What I was going to say.
You,
what about?
Occasionally. And like, I'm not a small person. On the podcast, Mike was like, and Sophia, I'm not sure like how tall you are, if you're petite. And I was like, oh, hell no,
like,
man.
I am a huge Amazon woman.
Yeah, it's like 5'10", muscular. Like, I'm like pretty much always bulking. So like, yeah, I've got some muscle on me. Like, I'll arm wrestle you.
Did you say I'll arm wrestle you?
Right, and it's like,
wait, can I tell you, that's the other obnoxious bar habit I have when I go out, is I'll challenge people to arm wrestle.
This was a conversation we had pre-recording.
Yeah, I was talking about some of my obnoxious going out habits. One of them, I will legitimately challenge you to an arm wrestling match. Like, no joke. And I'll make you buy me a drink if you lose.
I love that. You should arm wrestle me at my wedding.
Okay,
I would do it.
I'm ready.
That'd be a good photo.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds good.
Was that all of them?
I just used this.
I know. Oh my gosh.
I just realized.
2 weeks, right? I'm so excited.
Oh my God. I don't want to say, right. Yeah. 2 weeks-ish. I'm trying to say the actual date just in case.
Yeah. It's like around the 2 week mark, I'm not counting down the days. I am, but I'm not going to say the days, Right. I'm going to read you one funny one that I had and then I lost. Why does this keep happening to me? Why? Oh, why?
I know, like there are so many
over it and I'm like, oh, that'd be a good one. Oh, that'd be good. And I have so many that are so funny that I just cannot say on the internet because they're so out of pocket. One of them that is really funny was this guy. I had posted an inner thigh carry Valentine's date night edition, whatever dress Carrie, and this guy comments about basically that I look like I have man genitalia down there, but like said something about the fact that, wow, like something about the fact that it looked like I had a penis, but it said at the end, in fact, what she has is way bigger than any penis. And I was like, I thought it was really funny because I responded that the barrel length of the gun I was carrying was 3.1 inches. I'm so sorry that he thought that was humongous.
That is so funny. Yeah, man, it depends on how you see 3.1.
I was like, in reality, it's actually... Oh gosh, and I had one other funny one, but I lost it, and it's just gonna destroy me inside for the rest of my life. Oh, but I will read you. I feel like it's always good to end on a positive. I will read you just another warm, fuzzy one that made me feel all the happy things. It says, "Thank you for sharing this kind of content. As a father of 3 girls, I feel it is imperative that all women train, carry, and learn how to defend themselves. I appreciate you being such a great role model for young girls and educating women because I know dressing around a gun is hard for me, so I'm sure it's ridiculously difficult for women." And to that I went, screenshot, save forever, and print out and put on my wall. Just kidding, I haven't done that, but I would.
No, that's, oh yeah, like a vision board. A vision board. Yeah, 100%.
That'd be a great one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was trying to find the one I told you about not too long ago. I think I saw a funny DM I got the other day. This guy, I wrote him back like months after he had written me, and I said something like, "Oh, thanks, man." And he didn't know what I was saying that to. And I was like, "Oh," he was like, "Sorry, I don't remember what this was." And I was like, "No worries." Like, it was to a Jill Valentine thing, because I get that a lot, especially with my short hair now, and which I love. Yes, like, people come in, and he sent me like a video response, and he was like, I think he was driving actually, which, like, I mean, I don't condone that totally, but he was driving and he was like, "Oh yeah." Like he's like holding the phone. He's like, "Oh yeah, I like totally remember that." Like, so funny. Like, he was like, "Happy Memorial Day. Like, stay safe, sister." And then like pulled his shirt up and it was like his gun concealed carry setup. And then he like giggled and like ended the video. It was actually like really funny.
Adorable.
And, I know. I thought it was kind of sweet. Like, it wasn't weird. He was like, "Stay safe, sister." Like, nothing weird. Yeah, but when people just send me like a straight up compliment, like encouraging, especially the ones that say that they followed me from the very beginning, like when I had a fitness Instagram or when I only had like, I went through a time where I had like 5,000 on TikTok forever. And then I finally passed 10K. And then I just like, honestly, I don't remember where I went from there.
It just kind of like
off. But yeah, just honestly, I really got lucky with the algorithm is kind of how I see it.
Make
you just
amazing
never freaking know where that's going to take you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And of course, like, She Shield is my pride. Like when I've stopped like leading with Fit for Fia. I always lead with like, I'm a podcast host and I love this. And, I hope I can touch more lives with this podcast. I've been trying to get it out there more. I listen to true crime a lot and,
same.
I follow them religiously, like written them.
When I drove here,
and wait, listen to
Morbid usually. And Crime Junkie.
Did I get you on Morbid?
We've talked about it. No, I've listened to Morbid for quite some time actually, but
yeah, Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost. Yeah, we both love Ghost. Fun fact. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear their episode on Morbid?" I was like, "Oh my gosh." Anyway, no, and when I drove here, I drove to California from Tennessee, so that was like a really long drive, and I cannot even tell you how many episodes of Morbid I listened to. Like 30 at least.
By the time you get to a gas station, you're like totally paranoid.
Oh my gosh. And is this psychopathic of me that I specifically choose episodes that are set geographically in the region that I'm driving through? No. I always do that. Like,
it's the dopest idea. It gets you like interested and stimulates you. When you're driving, you need to be like,
yeah. Like if I'm driving through Texas and I'll like line up all these episodes that are set in Texas, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. It's like a what are those immersive like experiences or whatever at the museums or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's exactly. Just like that.
I remember I was driving. Yeah, exactly. I did that when I was driving to Oklahoma, but it was the Girl Scout murders. And kind of that was, okay, of all of the episodes that have rocked me to my core, it was the Girl Scout murders, the Memphis.
The middle of nowhere. Sorry.
3 or Memphis 5. Middle of nowhere Memphis.
The middle of nowhere
Memphis 5. I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was just the most brutal killing of these, innocent children. It was just awful. And like, I had to stop listening to that one. Like, there are some that I genuinely just like cannot get through.
Yeah.
But the Girl Scout murders, I was horrified, and I kind of regretted it because I feel like it tainted my experience a little bit there. So I feel like it could go one of two ways, because sometimes it's like interesting, especially if it's like a cryptid, but oh my God, dude, I would literally, if I could quit my jobs,
all of them, just my whole life.
Jobs, yes. And like just do podcasting and open like a murder crime podcast. I would love that.
What floors me all the time is when people are like, I just don't get why you carry a gun. Like, that's so paranoid. I'm like, have you never listened to an episode of true crime ever in your life? Like, how does that?
Exactly,
anyway, I'm like, how do you just listen to?
Wasn't it like Ted?
Which one?
Bundy, who used to walk his law student friend to her car at night because there was a serial killer out, and it was literally him. And it's only because she wasn't like brunette and she didn't part her hair down the middle, and she wasn't his like physical type. But like, there are people like that out there right now it's not 2023. Everyone is now doing cybercrime. Like, there are still people out there that walk the streets and either, got hit in the head as a kid and just have underdeveloped or maldeveloped prefrontal cortexes. I mean, there are just people that are messed up out there. Yeah.
Man.
What were you going to say?
I'm sorry. That was so funny to me. It shouldn't be, but
the way I said it. No, It's true though. Like,
I too was dropped on my head as a child, but I don't murder people.
Were you
was really? My brother dropped me on my head.
Oh my God.
Doesn't that explain so much?
Yes. I am so sorry.
You know what?
No.
It's okay. No. I don't think my head is misshapen, and I don't think I'm a psychopath, and I definitely don't murder people, so consider me winning.
Ayo. Yeah, like the guy that was that they based Dexter, the show, off of, was an actual like dude, lived in Brazil, and his mother, and this content warning for abuse, his mother was physically abused, and when she was pregnant, she was kicked in the abdomen, and his head, as a result, had a dent, like a permanent dent in it.
Wow.
And because of that, he grew to develop psychopathic tendencies, and ended up being this like vigilante killer. Of course, he claimed he was a vigilante. Some of his killings were it's hard to see where that was a vigilante and more of like a
also we don't condone any killing on this podcast, but
no, not at all.
Even the vigilante kind.
Not at all. No, but it's even the vigilante. But it's like crazy to think like his life could have been totally different.
Killing. We don't condone any murder.
Like mental health. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
There is a difference.
Anyway, so right. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we got to this, but that was fun to talk about. If you guys are wanting a true crime podcast, Morbid, My Favorite Murder, and Sinisterhood, and you like Crime Junkies, those are all really good ones, places to start. They're very respectful of the victims, and they try to kind of add an educational and mental health component to them, which is really cool. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Otherwise, this was a lot of fun. We'll have to do another one, and we'll blind react to each other's comments. I know we had talked about these quite a bit before we came on the podcast, but if you guys liked this, please head over to the Instagram and let us know, comment, especially on the highlights that come from this reel. If you're interested in exclusive video content, you can become a Patreon. You'll receive a thank you note and podcast stickers. Again, we're on Instagram, TikTok at SheShieldPod. And then a special thank you to Sagetta Gear, the official sponsor of SheShield. For concealed carry gear and duty gear, you can use code SheShield10 for 10% off your Sagetta Gear order. All resources mentioned in this episode will be in the show notes. I'm not sure what those will be yet, but they'll be there. If you like the pod, you can really, really help by liking, subscribing, and leaving a review. For me, on Spotify, I just have to scroll up And then, of course, I rate the podcast based on what I feel like. Hopefully that's 5 stars. That really helps get our name out there. And then if you or anyone you know is a firearms owner experiencing a crisis, look into holdmyguns.org. They are an organization that will connect you with a local gun shop or FFL to store your firearm for you. The link to access their website and find a storage location and or partner is available in the show notes. In the meantime, stay safe
and stay vigilant.